we're not talking about the personality of pit bulls today. Because this program, of course, listen, it's an urban issue. It's talking about us as individuals trying to get ourselves better. Trying to deal with the situation of our own lives personally, the lives of our family members, the lives of our community members, and even the lives of black folks in this state, in the country, even in the world, you know, from like a Pan-African perspective. We have a lot of issues from like every layer of existence that we are in. But as you know, from the old saying, the old Asian proverb, every journey begins with that single step, or every journey, a journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath your feet. So we really can't affect the situation of our family unless we first affect ourselves. We cannot affect the situation in our communities unless we first affect ourselves. We cannot affect the situation of our state or of this nation or of the world until we begin to deal with ourselves. Okay, so it's very important. Like when you're on the airplane, they'll tell you, if something goes down and the people around you need help, get your oxygen mask on first, so you'll be coherent and able to help other folks. And see, that's what we're looking at. So I'm using a pit bull today is because what I consider the other day is how we in so many neighborhoods, and I find this commendable, how people are trying to get out of the hood, get out of the more impoverished, poor neighborhoods, because there's a lot of negativity. We don't want to raise our kids in that, right? But what's interesting is that a lot of these families that move from those places bring a pit bull with them into a nicer community than the community they came out of. And what I'm suggesting to you is that right there is you could take yourself out of the ghetto, but if you're going to take yourself out of the ghetto, don't bring the ghetto with you, is all I'm talking about. Okay? See, we come up, I work with some guys that are my age. I'm like late 50s, 59 this year. And guys that are my age, you talk about, they came up in the ghetto. And it's almost like a pride because that's where they were raised. I wasn't raised in the ghetto, but these guys are kind of trying to, some of them ridicule me because Jarvis, he don't know, he wasn't in the ghetto. I'm like, okay, my bad. But these guys had a pride because their parents raised them in the ghetto, not because that's simply where they wanted to live, because that was necessary, but although they were living in a particular negative situation, they had a work ethic, and they had a self-pride and a reality of what's going on and how to get up out of the ghetto, and so they worked. Some of them joined the military, some worked here, worked there, but they're upstanding, respectable people, so they can feel a pride in their roots of the ghetto. Like Donny Hathaway, he's got that song, The Ghetto, cool song. But the idea of the ghetto itself is not a cool place. But even within the ghetto, there are families. There's strength in those families. And parents, like any good parents, like me, you don't want your kid to be on the same level with you. Every parent, every healthy parent should want their child to be better than them. And then the next generation, better than them. And so they look back and say, man, begin to talk about their parents and grandparents and realize, the strength of the roots of their existence. What I'm suggesting is when we come up out of the ghetto, then don't bring the ghetto with you, because that's not helping a thing. That's making it worse. So as black folks, all folks really, but this particular program, black folks, we need to begin to do some introspection. We need to begin to do some critical examination of our own lives and ask ourselves, am I the problem? It's so easy sometimes to look around and identify all the folks and all the issues, but we are the ones often. We're the ones bringing. We moved out of the ghetto, but did you bring the ghetto with you? That's the question. Because the ghetto is not a good place. The attributes of the ghetto is not a good place. What's good is, over the years and even today, when there are strong families that because of economic situations are in the ghetto, but still in the ghetto is like an oasis because they're raising their family with proper values, proper ideas, proper realities, and a healthy vision of what the real world is about and how to get out of this negative situation. Okay? So that's healthy. But the ghetto is not a good place. But you have good families in the ghetto, good strengthened families that are teaching their children and trying to get their children in a place educationally and mentally and sensibly out of that mess, okay? And so we can't be the families that are sort of misguided to believe we are doing well simply because we've moved out of a particular negative situation if our family unit now in a better neighborhood is still maintaining the attributes of that ghetto community. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And the pit bulls are a prime example. It's ridiculous. And then you'll find the families that have been in those nicer areas for some time that don't have pit bulls, then they see these people coming out of the ghetto, moving into their neighborhoods for a good positive reason because they want to have a better environment for their kids, but they're bringing the ghetto with them. They're bringing the pit bulls with them. And the people that are living in these communities, they don't want those pit bulls in there. So you got these folks coming up out the ghetto, which is very commendable, because they want a better environment for their kids, but they're bringing the ghetto with them. So you realize then, they are the ghetto. And until they realize that, until there's some introspection, it might be you, realize that you are the problem, that you think you're running from the ghetto. It's you. And so you haven't really run from the ghetto, you've just brought the ghetto into a nicer neighborhood. You are the ghetto, and all your neighbors know it. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. We got to recognize that the role of a parent isn't to simply have fun. I mean, that's a big old, that's amazing to me, that attitude of adults that believe that they just have to have fun. Okay, they got kids, but these adults, the fun is for kids. I mean, have a healthy life, have an enjoyable life. Have a life full of education and grasping and insight and understanding and getting yourself in a place where you can give insight, understanding, and knowledge, real knowledge, to our young people. But as far as having fun, that's a convoluted mindset for an adult. Your job as an adult, I'm amazed. I mean, I came out the world. I'm a little bit reformed now, but I mean, I was in clubs, every night of the week, every single night of the week, Monday through Sunday, always in those clubs. I was always partying, but I was 28 when I came up out of that, and I'll be 59 today. What I'm suggesting is, it's almost when I'm listening to old, it's like, maybe white folks are doing this too, but when I'm listening to black folks talk about, let's go party, there's an immature confusion in the mind of adult black folks. When we're in the midst of so much turmoil, or in this nation, in this world, but in the lives of black folks, when we have not come to a point where we are well, where we can drive down the road, see a police car in our rearview mirror and not start freaking out because I'm a black man and that's a cop, if we're in that situation, we're not in a place where we're supposed to be partying. Let the kids party. And really, there should be some restraint in that. But the reason there's no restraint in the kids partying is because they've inherited that attitude of partying from their parents. Now they might be taking it to a different level. You might just be go out there drinking, at this club or at this little place in town, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nights a week. So we're partying as adults, but kids are seeing that. They're just getting that from us, and they're just taking their partying to a different level. But it's the same thing. They've gotten that from us. What message are you sending your kids for real, black people? Why is partying even part of our vernacular? Why is it even part of our conversation as adult black people in a society that's jacked up toward black people, and we got kids coming up in this world? Why are we partying? Why are we out here drinking and getting high and getting the buzz and playing when we're still at war? It's not over yet. When I'm talking about war, I mean war against black people. I'm not talking about picking up arms war, but I'm talking about the dire situation that we're living in today and the situation that our children are facing. Why are we sending them the message that partying is something healthy or something right? How much money are we spending on partying? That's the message to our kids. We're kind of a mess right now. And that's the ghetto. Now, what I'm telling you is, these are attributes of the ghetto. The pit bull is symbolic, an attribute of the ghetto. The partying as well. Come on, go into the neighborhoods. What are you going to find? You're going to find weed smoke belling out of so many houses in those neighborhoods. People drinking, alcohol, people just partying, having fun. Having fun in the midst of living in the ghetto. See, that's the difference between the ghetto of the gentlemen who I am working with, who have fond memories of the ghetto, fond memories of their families and all that, and they lived in the ghetto, because it wasn't the ghetto itself, it was the strength of that family in the ghetto. See, we don't have that today. We have a ghetto mentality in the ghetto, so there's no getting out of the ghetto. It's just finding ways to have more fun while in the ghetto. I'm just saying, I like Donny Hathaway's song. It's a cool song. But that's all that's cool about the ghetto. The key to the ghetto is it's a place where you want to get out of, okay? Not that you want to get all comfortable in there. I'm in this neighborhood where there's these 2 apartment buildings in the ghetto. People have been living there for years. And so just recently taken over by new management, so they put a new face on the building, and they put new floors in one of the buildings and put new mailboxes in there. And man, the people are just so happy and so proud to be living in there. So they just put a new outside on the ghetto. They put a new floor in the ghetto. They put new mailboxes in the ghetto, and these folks are satisfied. Don't be satisfied. There's nothing wrong with living in the ghetto, recognizing that it's a place to get yourself together, not to live there forever. And now think about the symbolism here, because when I'm talking about living there forever, okay, we're talking about this building, but living there forever is a mindset. So whatever your mindset was when you were a child or when you were younger or around most of the people in that environment, that ghetto mindset isn't going to take you to a place of success. Man, I was in a neighborhood the other day, man, there was these kids, I remember when they were born. The girl, and she has a baby now. She's probably about 25 or so years old with this little baby. She's probably about 3 years old, and she's out working out outside with one of her girlfriends, and she got this music playing, and the crazy rap things with questionable lyrics. This is not creating a pathway to success for her kid. It's not even creating a pathway for success to her. That's why she's in that situation. What I'm saying is we just have to be more conscious about the lifestyles that we're living and about the choices that we're making in front of our children. And then the problem with the music, I like music. I'm a musician. I play the saxophone. I play a little bit of piano, not like my daughter. But I'm a musician. I love music. I love every kind of music. Even my son, when he was growing up, the rap music, I like the beat, I like the sound, especially like Latin rap, and certain things. I just love music, but I also love Tchaikovsky's, the Sleeping Beauty waltz, I love the, summer and spring and all these William Tell overtures, and, all kinds of music, I enjoy. But those lyrics, those words are very influential. And I know in my time, coming up, with Superfly, and music, and, or maybe with War, or Lowrider or something, when I'm in the car driving, from back in the day, I would begin to take on the persona of that music. And even today, if my Lowrider or something comes up, man, I gotta crank that music up, and you take on that persona. Or maybe Bob Marley comes up, and you're talking about Buffalo Soldier, or you're talking, one of his, and you start feeling that little reggae beat going on. I'm saying the music is so influential. So the music, and me and Mrs. Jones from back in my day, a lot of the music we had that was love music, and we created a lot of babies to that music because it was so influential. Some of y'all listen to this program may have been a creation of some of that music, in your mama and your daddy's time. What I'm suggesting is how influential that music is, so we got to recognize the music of today is influential as well. And when it's going harsh and it's going that rough stuff, talking a lot of negativity, a lot of harshness, a lot of nastiness, a lot of nigga this, nigga that. When our children are inundated with that, or when we're inundated with that, it's beginning to shape our mindset. It's beginning to shape our personalities, and we begin to walk in that. And we're playing that music 24/7. That's who we become. So what about our kids who are listening to that music with us simply because that's what we're into? What I'm suggesting is that's the ghetto. So it's not even giving us then an incentive to get out of the ghetto. It's creating this mindset. It's creating this personality track that we find ourselves living in that is the ghetto mindset that will never get out. And that is the problem. And it's not just a problem in our lives. Maybe your life is over. But what about the lives of your kids, the lives of your grandkids? They're going to fall right into that mess. I seen a kid the other day, and I guess I am old. We had our styles coming up in the 70s and 80s, but you got kids that are tremendously, terribly influenced by the people that they're looking up to, and those folks are influenced by the folks that they've looked up to. We're just kind of jacked up. Case in point, driving down the road, there's like 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids walking down the middle of the street. Where do you think they got that dumb idea from? The teenagers in their lives. We're influential. We were created to be influenced. That's how we learn. So what are you teaching your kids? What is the music that you're listening to teaching your kids? And is it really a pathway to the road to success for them? I mean, you see people all the time. You see people in the street that are just not successful. What do you think happened to them? They got in that wrong track. And they could never get off. And even the parents that influenced them in the wrong way, now they're dead. And this 50-year-old man is sitting there on the street, really messed up, because the influences that they had coming up in their lives. I didn't mean to be on this rant, but this is just so real. The trash. So I see like pit bulls and trash and the music, all that stuff, man. It's just indicative of this ghetto mindset that is not doing us any good. Let the ghetto be the place that you remember growing up, that you got up out of. Not that you got up out of, went somewhere else and brought it with you. Come on, I see trash in the street. I see people just throwing stuff, dropping stuff in the middle of the street. What's that mean? Ghetto. The pit bulls. Ghetto. The weed smoke bellowing out of the house. Ghetto. The lifestyles and the attitudes, the negativities, ghetto. What are you passing on to your children? Ghetto. They're not going to be successful. They're not going to be successful. It's as simple as that. So I was sharing with this one guy, once, and my philosophy on this program are the things that we need to do to be well. We need to first stop committing crimes. We need to stop smoking weed. Really, we need to stop smoking alcohol until this battle is over. We need to, again, stop committing crimes. We need to get educated. And we need to get armed legally, if we can, legally. And we need to protect our own selves. But we got to straighten up our own lives. We got to check ourselves and stop doing the things that are self-destructive. I mean, we got cats driving down the road, I can tell you right now, speeding, running red lights, speeding, driving all crazy, driving all crazy in the road, probably don't have a license or insurance. So when you get jammed up, you're just asking for trouble. We're just asking for trouble. And don't get me wrong, everything that I'm listening to me now, don't get me wrong, everything that I'm talking to you about right now, I once was. Fortunately, I was like 28 when I had my epiphany, when I came up out of this mess, but nothing that, even to the point of no driver's license, no insurance, and all that stuff, I've been there. Worried about when you look in the mirror, if a cop's behind you because you got a warrant out or something like that, you're wondering if you got a warrant out. I've been there. I've been in the clubs. I've been partying every night of the week. Used to work for NCR. I'd go to the club, right after work with my 3-piece suit back in the day, 80s and 90s. And I'd be out in the clubs and then get out of the club 2, 3 in the morning and just stay up and just go right back to work wearing that same suit because I never changed clothes. Brush my teeth. Kind of nasty, but I'm just saying, I've been there. I know. And I'm telling you, it's wrong. And what I'm fortunate about, what I'm so blessed about, and it's not even because of my own good sense, it's because when I snapped up out of this mess, I didn't have kids that could be influenced. My son wasn't born. My daughter wasn't born. So they didn't know me when I was in that state. So all they see now are the positives. My son graduated from UC in the same year that I got my associate degree at St. Clair. I got my bachelor's degree back in November of 2016 and working on my master's degree right now. So my daughter, she was like 3 when I started going to school, so that's all she knows. So whatever the influence is, positive or negative, let me tell you what I learned about my daughter, I mean, I practiced the martial art from the time I was like 14 till maybe off and on till I was about 30 something. But I was, partying for much of that time back in the day, and I was not eating the right kind of foods, wasn't really exercising like I should. I just loved to spar, so I just joined clubs here and there. But I've gotten a chance to help my daughter become healthy. Like when she was in kindergarten, started in the martial art. In the second grade, she wanted to run track. Then she wanted to play basketball. She wanted to play soccer. And now she's playing lacrosse. Lacrosse? I had to Google that one because I really wasn't familiar with it. Only to find out that was Jim Brown's strength. It wasn't football. He was better in lacrosse than he was in football. I was amazed about that. I didn't know black people played lacrosse. My ignorance. But the point is, because the influences that you could take your child and you could turn them into anything that you want to turn them into. Okay? Now, you look at Barack Obama, single mom household, ended up living with his grandparents. Sound like a lot of folks in our community, right? Right. So you can say, well, a lot of negativity going on. Could have been ghetto. No. She was making him read early in the morning. Read to her, do his homework, all that stuff. I'm just suggesting is that you can take your kid, and it doesn't matter what kind of life you had growing up. It doesn't matter how many times you failed or what the limitations of your life are because of the choices that you've made. You can turn your kid into anything you want them to be. But it has to be intentional. You have to realize that, have to recognize that. You have to realize that they're going to be like you. They're going to be like you no matter what you tell them. You can't say, do as I say, not as I do. No, they're going to do as you do. I don't care what you say. And it's not out of rebellion. It's simply that's how human beings are created. That's how even little ducks, animals are created. See a little duck mother walking around and going over this and going to that, and all those little ducks behind it, chicks or whatever you call it, they're following her the same way. They're just following because that's how we as animals and birds and things, that's how we were created to learn from those that brought us into the world. So your kids are looking at you just like that. You can turn your son or daughter into a scientist, into a chemist, into an attorney, into a doctor, into an astrophysicist, into anything, a nuclear engineer, whatever you want. But it has to be intentional. And you have to make sure that you clean up your life. You don't have to be that bright or that smart. Man, my daughter, she was great in math all the way up through, like second, third grade. She was like tops in her class. 6th grade algebra, she was kind of like struggling a little bit, so I'm helping her. I've been helping her. But then it got to the point now where she's a little bit better at some of that stuff than me, but it took me to help her when she was frustrated, when she's doing her homework or if she didn't understand. I told her to go to bed. I'd get on Google. I'd figure out how to do that algebraic equation so when she woke up, I can show her how, you see? So it takes that intention. And then I do help her and get her to the point where now she might know some things. That's all right, Daddy, I got this. When I went to school yesterday with my homework, I got the one wrong that you showed me. That's what I want. We take them up to the point where we can, and then they're able to take it to that next level, just like a booster rocket. But if we're not being intentional, if we're not being there, if we're just living our own ragged ghetto lifestyle, that's the influence that's going to bring them down. It's not going to push them up. We need to get it together. You need to get it together. I need to get it even. All of us need to get it more together. Wherever you're at now, just get it a little bit more together. I told this guy, and I share this in just about every program now recently, this homeless guy came to me on the street. He said, hey, Jarvis, give me a word. And I said, well, just pray every day. And he said, no, Jarvis, give me a word. He realized I was just blowing him off. So I thought about it a second. I said, okay, man, look. I said, every day, do something for yourself to make yourself better. I said, start, maybe cut your toenails. Next day, cut your fingernails and clean your fingernails. Trim your nose hairs, trim your ear hairs. Every day, figure out one thing to do for yourself to make yourself better. And in 30 days, your whole life is going to change. Because it's going to take about a week taking care of the natural stuff, maybe a week, week and a half. But after about 2 weeks, you're going to have to sit there. He's going to have to sit there and begin to really think about what he can do to make himself better. And eventually, he's going to fix himself. And that's what I'm saying about you. So you guys say, well, I don't have that problem. I don't smoke weed. So find something else. Oh, I don't do this, you know. Well, maybe it's your temper. Maybe it's your attitude. Maybe it's the food that you're eating. Maybe you're overweight. You know, maybe you're obese. Whatever it is. Maybe you stay out a lot. You don't spend enough time at home with your family. Maybe you don't get enough sleep. That's my issue. It's 5 o'clock in the morning right now. I'm just saying we all can do better, okay? So I'm going to make this commitment to you, and I'd like you to make a commitment. Just look at your life, and every day do something better for yourself. First things first, if this is your issue, get that ghetto out of your life. Take that pit bull out. If you're in a new neighborhood, if you're still in the ghetto, keep the pit bull till you leave. But if you move, get rid of the pit bull. Get a little Havanese or a little, if you have to have a dog. Because that pit bull symbolizes a lot of things. And in the minds of our kids, even in our minds, the things that motivate us, and we spoke on this a couple of programs ago as well, the things that motivate us to be and do the things that we do are subliminal, are subconscious. Everything that we do in the conscious realm, everything that we like, everything that we do, how we act, how we feel, how we view things, how we view people, other people, everything is motivated by subconscious proddings. So what I'm suggesting is even that pit bull has a subconscious prodding of a certain type of individual or a certain type of personality traits. And so we need to begin getting rid of the negative symbols that influence our personality traits that are not good. Okay? The alcohol, I mean, I'm sitting there, I got family members, you know, always this kind of drinking, this alcohol, this kind of drink, stuff I've never even heard of. When I was back in my day, it was like gin, rum, and Seagrams, you know. Now you got stuff I've never, but it's almost like, man, this is something because I drink this or I drink that. Really? What kind of message are you sending to your kids? What kind of subconscious message are you sending to yourself? Is this really good for you? And how is it benefiting your future? Okay? That's all I'm saying. So kick that around. Kick that around, okay? I do thank you for having patience and listening. And I do want to invite you to listen again. You take care.